So when we think about like the work aspect of this, right? There has been a history of like we put people in, right? We don't necessarily want meaningless work, right? Where we're just like digging holes for no good reason, right? So meaningless work is no good. But from a society standpoint, right, we do, have an opportunity, right? And the state, assumes a lot of things when they take someone, right? So, they have to pay for food, they are paying for housing, security costs, and healthcare for an inmate, right? And, we think about like, as a society, right, we tend to think like a harsher punishment is always going to be like a longer time where you're deprived of freedom, where you don't have agency to go about and do your, whatever the hell you want to do. So a lot of times like the state, operating their prison system, right, wants to use this labor. To get something from their, I guess we could call it an investment, right? We invested in locking you up, and hopefully that you repent, and I think it will take care of you while you're, going on this like individual journey to figure out whatever, right? So, we want to use your labor to do that. So, there are many instances, right, where, we would, like the state would sell labor to like a private business, right? Or to do like a contract system where someone else would take over like the labor, would assume care for you, but they could use you however you wanted, and stuff like that. And in some ways, right, because there's like a low pay for this kind of thing, because a lot of like the pay justification is like, well, because you're working and we're taking care of all these things, you get like, really like limited pay, right? Maybe you have an opportunity to pay for restitution or get something from the commissary, but you don't get a lot, right? Out of it. So even though they say like, oh, we pay for all these other things, and this is when you pay for labor, right? In some ways, right, like this is a form of like institutionalized like slavery, right? Related to inmates. It's for low pay. Sure, you're getting paid, but it's not that much. Yes, you offended and committed a crime, but we're also selling your labor to other people, and you don't really have a lot of say or agency in how that happens, right? Some of you may be wondering, like, why I use that word. Well, I mean, if you look up some cases, of how slavery works in modern America, right? Because there are instances of this where there are forced labor, where, especially when like migrants are attracted. I forget what the name of the visa is, but there's like a special visa where you can go work at, I don't know, somewhere, but you have to like stay on like the company's land and their housing. They don't give you enough money to go out, and they pay you basically nothing because they say they're paying for your visa. And so you're basically forced labor. There's a case in New Jersey that happened a couple of years ago because of that. Fun fact, if you go to the Iranian website, what's his name? Khomeini, Ayatollah Khomeini. Like there's a website there, and like it posts like a lot of things about the dangers of the West, and in particular America. And one of the things he has posted is like, hey, don't go to America because you'll be, put into slavery, right? He doesn't talk about prisons, but he does talk about how people are, fall into like this form of slavery that I mentioned in New Jersey, right? So you should go, check that out if you're bored. So anyway, right, so we have all this, right, but we also use them to make, state products, right? And sometimes like we see these things in terms of like furniture, or license plates is the classic example, or other forms of labor, right, where the state benefits. But like, so the state benefits from something, right? It's a lower cost, and really you have labor, for years because of it, and almost like an endless supply, because what else people are going to do for their time. And, you know, you can punish them if they decide, you know, not to work because of that. So that's sort of like the basic overview of the prison system. And I think most of the other concepts in the chapter are things that you can, you know, divine for yourself. So we'll go ahead and end the module there. See y'all